Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line, and the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle! There's a big on him! Around the outside of the Mbappe, Thuram, LeBron James, a shot at history.
And welcome in to our latest episode of Game Time. I'm your host, Jack White, and I'm joined by my co-host, Joshua Aluabaro. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. It is the Friday before the College Football National Championship. We're so excited for this one. So I'll ask you, Josh, heading into this game, obviously there's been a lot of narratives about how the two teams got here. What is your biggest takeaway from how Notre Dame's season played out and how they got here?
I think their season's been really good. I know they lost to NIU, so if Notre Dame was natty, I think Northern Illinois will get that national champion, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. But I think this season throughout the playoffs, they played. Although I will say Ohio State had a harder path essentially because they played the number one seed. Notre Dame, I think they showed out. They put themselves out there. They roundhouse kicked Indiana, and then they took care of business against Georgia, and then although it was close against Penn State, they got the job done. And I think that although they might be an underdog, in like the favorites thing, I do believe that they are the rightful national champions.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff you said that I totally agree with. Not sure about that last part. But you're right. After that Northern Illinois loss, we're all like, "Is this?" We all assumed they were dead to rights, and they didn't have any future in the rest of the season. But you know what they did is they rebuilt themselves, rebuilt their character, and really just what the job that Marcus Freeman's done, and bouncing back from that Northern Illinois loss has been remarkable because now. I mean, at the very least, even if they lose, they're the second best team in the country. They beat an SEC powerhouse in Texas, one of the best Big Ten teams in Penn State, and then before that, Indiana. So this turnaround has been remarkable. And let's not forget, Notre Dame actually played Ohio State at home last year, losing a 17-14 decision where Ohio State walked it off with a 1-yard touchdown run at the end of that game. So low scoring. It's interesting to see how the defensive matchups from that game translate to this game because on the one hand, they did a very good job containing Marvin Harrison Jr., Ibuka, Fleming, their receivers, and their defensive line generally won against the offensive line in that battle, and Kyle McCord didn't play a great game. But now, here we are, 2025, Jeremiah Smith.
My God.
Yeah. He's basically Marvin Harrison Jr. 2.0.
I think he's actually, dude. I think he's only a freshman too.
Yeah.
I think he could be better than him. Like, I saw a meme. I saw a post on Instagram that it was depicting like an NFL team wanting to sign him, but they can't. He's too young at the moment. He's 19. Yeah. That's crazy. Like a freshman, like putting these numbers up first year. I mean, that is remarkable.
Yeah. He has to date 1,200 receiving yards and 14 receiving touchdowns, or 12 receiving touchdowns, excuse me. So essentially matching Marvin Harrison Jr.'s production from last season. So if you just look at, you say, well, Jeremiah Smith is this year's Marvin Harrison Jr. Will this game kind of play out the same way? And I'm here to tell you that it won't because, first of all, Will Howard's a better quarterback than Kyle McCord. Will Howard has stepped up in the toughest moments this year, bounced back from 2 gut-wrenching losses to Michigan and Oregon, and he throttled Tennessee, throttled Oregon, and handled Texas when it was time to get down to business. He made the throws that he needed to. So he's an upgrade.
The defense as well, yeah.
Yeah, the defense is playing lights out. They're allowing around 12 points a game, 61% in the red zone TD scoring percentage. That's what Ohio State's defense allows, which is the best in the country by far. So basically, even if you get into the red zone, there's a almost 50% chance that you're either like first and goal, you're not scoring a touchdown on these guys. So the defense has been a lot better, and Jim Knowles and that crew shows continuous improvement. They brought back all those guys, and it's looking better than ever. Also, the introduction of Chip Kelly, their offensive coordinator. He remember Ryan Day was calling plays last year. He caught a lot of heat from the media, from players, and from fans like myself for calling the plays, which weren't very creative and at times repetitive. But now Chip Kelly in this playoffs, he's shown why. He's a dynamic play caller, former head coach in the NFL. He's won championships in college. He's showing his pedigree at the perfect time. Him meshing his designs with Ryan Day to create that perfect air raid / ground game offense that kind of coexist together. So going back to these coordinator matchups, it's Al Golden, the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame, versus Chip Kelly, offensive coordinator for Ohio State. Al Golden has been widely praised this season for how well he's performed as Notre Dame defense, and rightly so, because they've had a lot of injuries, and their depth has shown up. They've basically shut down their last couple of opponents and Penn State in the second half with their physicalness, their toughness at the line of scrimmage, and their secondary play. They play primarily man coverage, which against Ohio State may present an issue because you got J.J. Smith, who is the best receiver on the planet by far at the college level. So it's going to be really interesting to watch these coordinator matchups, these head coaching matchups, as well as the matchup in the trenches, right? Or offensive lines for Ohio State and Notre Dame versus the opposing defensive lines. Who controls that? That's going to be a big deciding factor. And I just want to present a statistic for you guys. Ohio State has had 16 sacks so far in these playoffs, 5.3 a game, right? And this is by far the best out of all the teams. So their defensive line, their front seven, really, those linebackers included, have been getting pressure at an unimaginable level. And they could really make Riley Leonard's life hell. So, Josh, I know you're a Notre Dame homer in this one. What are your keys to victory for Notre Dame?
Well, given the fact that they've been playing still exceptionally well, even with the injuries, I don't think they're not at their full capacity for this game, for this matchup. But yet they are. Yet I do believe that that Riley Leonard, and Jeremiah Love, they can really cook something up. I think even though you said that they have anchors, I think this could be given how how it is in the trenches. I think this could be even. I think Notre Dame's keys is using that running game, right? Use Jeremiah Love to kind of slip through the cracks in the trenches. I mean, he will have to get past Clark Sawyer. So another thing is that I think this could be a defensive game as well. I think the defense is. I mean, Clark Sawyer was playing amazing at Texas. So I mean, Jack Sawyer. Yeah. My mistake. My apologies. I think this game is going to be about stopping and being able to capitalize off. It's good, like you said, it's going to be a coaching matchup. I think these coaches are going to have to give their team something to play with. Give Will Howard something to play with. Riley Leonard something to play with. Pause. And I think on paper it's looking like it's going to be an Ohio State one, but I think Riley Leonard, Jaden Greathouse, and a defense. They're gonna put stops out, and then they're gonna be able to give Leonard something to play with.
Are you talking about playing with stuff?
Yeah. Pause. It's gonna give them opportunities to capitalize off in the areas and the Ohio defense. I mean, it's a weaker Notre Dame team. I mean, even Marcus Freeman, his coaching philosophy is actually exceptionally well. I mean, he's the players are pushing themselves to a higher standard, both physically and academically, which I think I'm taking an example from Coach Carter. Coach Carter, great film, amazing film. I mean, Coach Carter, the more time they spent on the field and in the books, they achieve more greater success on the court. I think the same thing correlates here with Marcus Freeman. I mean, Marcus Freeman essentially is Coach Carter. I think these players, Leonard, Love, Greathouse, and the rest of them, are going to be able to maybe even outsmart the defense, maybe even outwit them. I think Jeremiah Love can really do something either on the ground running or even receiving. I think that they have a lot of options here. They just got to pick their battles and
both offense and defense have got to make something happen. Defense got to stop them or even try and pick the ball off, like essentially like what they're trying to do anyways. And then the offense has to kind of just stay out of making silly errors and just try to focus on getting the job at hand. And I mean, Leonard can also use his legs as well. He runs a lot as well. So like Lamar Jackson, and I think as long as if they use everything they got, they can upset against Ohio State.
Yeah, great point about Leonard with his legs. That's really where he gets his third down conversions, his yards from. He's not known as a great passer. He's thrown some interceptions, missed some guys. Notre Dame also doesn't have great wide receivers, but he makes those plays with his legs. And honestly, he's kind of like a Colin Cowherd for Fox Sports. He called him a little Josh Allen. That's a bit much,
I don't think that.
but I mean, if we're talking about purely running ability, I mean, I see it, but Josh Allen obviously playing tremendous football right now for the Buffalo Bills. So before we make our picks, just want to read you guys a little history about the matchup. So Notre Dame claims 11 national championships. Only 4 of those are after 1950, so do with that what you will. They are 2-6 versus Ohio State all time, and averaged 17.4 points per game against them. Their last win versus Ohio State came in 1939.
But you gotta take into account
When they last played each other, you did say it's 22. So
They've
had
played each other the past 2 years.
past 2 years.
Past 2 years, yeah.
I mean that was entirely. I think they had a different team back then. There was no Will Howard. It was Stroud, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Stroud. Yeah, and Stroud exceptionally well. I think I'm not surprised that Ohio State beat Notre Dame when they last played because it was Stroud.
Yeah.
Stroud's playing amazing for Texas right now, and hopefully beats Mahomes on Sunday. But yeah, I'll let you continue. I mean, I'll continue what you were saying. I mean, the last time they were in this position was in 2013, back in the old BCS format against Bama. They lost 42-14, but to the benefit of the doubt, it was a Nick Saban Bama team. I mean, this was prime Nick Saban. So, but yeah, they lost one in 1998 against West Virginia, 34-21. But I mean, outside of these stats, Mr. Jack, let's take a look at Ohio State. I mean, they have 8 national championships. I mean, they're 6-2 against Notre Dame, averaging 2.56 points per game. They beat them last year, 14 in South Bend, a walk-off goal, like you said earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Last time they were in this spot was in 2020, where they lost to guess who? Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't a Bama podcast because Bama suck now. They're terrible. But the last time they won was in another interesting thing is that last time they won a national championship was in 2015, the first year of the 4-team college football playoff.
Yeah.
Is history repeating itself? For me, hopefully it doesn't. But maybe Ohio State will go 2 for 2 in winning an inaugural college football playoff.
I mean, that'd be an amazing sight to see as a fan myself. But like overall, we've discussed how Ohio State has majority of the advantages both on offense and defense. Really, the only advantage I see is in claimed national championships for Notre Dame, 11 supposedly. That's not big, by the way. All respect to Notre Dame. Their defense is stout. We mentioned 14.3 points per game, second in the country, 32 takeaways. That leads the country, and they're the best middle 8 team in football. And I'm sure all of you guys, when you watch these ESPN broadcasts, they always talk about the middle 8. Well, what is the middle 8? The middle 8 is essentially the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the first half, of the second half. And that's why you always see college coaches, when they win the coin toss, they defer. You know why they defer?
Yeah.
Because it gives them the best chance to win that middle 8. So you want to score before half and then score after half, which Notre Dame was able to do in all their matchups very well. And it's interesting because Ohio State actually hasn't done that very well in the playoff, but they haven't needed to because they've been up so much, besides for the Texas game. That's an interesting metric that this game could come down to is who's better off of takeaways, getting short fields, and the middle 8, which are all big factors in this game. So it's now time.
It's time to get down to business. We gotta
Pick. Who's our pick for the national championship? I think, seeing your jersey, I think we already know who you're going to pick.
Yeah.
But I'll start with myself. Will Howard's been playing so great. I think like he might even overpower this Notre Dame defense. I don't think they're going to win I think it's gonna be Ohio. No, it's gonna be Notre Dame.
Wow.
Notre Dame is gonna win this game, and you know what? I'm gonna bet something on this, right?
Yeah. What are you betting?
I'm gonna bet my left shoe.
Okay.
My
What are you
left
wearing
shoe.
right
I'm wearing Air Maxes.
now? Air Maxes? Who gets the left shoe? Do I get the left shoe?
Sure. Yeah, it'll be a Yeah, we'll put it like up here. It'd be a little trophy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, that sounds great. Great plan. Do
Okay.
I owe you my left shoe then?
No, I'll just give you one of my left shoes
Okay.
from my wardrobe.
All right.
And then,
You're betting left shoe on Notre Dame to win that.
yeah,
CFP.
I'm betting one of my left. I'm betting one of my left shoes.
What do you think the final score will be?
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be close. I always say it's gonna be a close game, but sometimes it won't be a close game. I mean, we saw Georgia TCU. We thought it was gonna be close, 65-7. I mean, man, Ryan Day, good coach. I mean, the defense as well, really good. Jack Sawyer, I mean, phenomenal. Really, really freaking good.
Yeah.
I think 28-21. I think it's gonna be. Yeah, here's what's gonna be. It's gonna be close throughout the entire game. In the fourth quarter, Notre Dame is going to. I think they're gonna get a crucial interception. Get it down the field. Fake field goal for a first down, and then
Fake field goal.
fake field goal to get a first down, and then they're gonna run it in for a touchdown like 30 seconds to go in the game. Something along those lines.
Perhaps the boldest prediction of the season goes to my co-host Josh. I will not be so bold, and I'm sure you guys have seen the line at -8 right now. Could go up in the coming days before the game. All right. So Ohio State, they lose to Oregon, a heartbreaker. They lose to Michigan, a heartbreaker. Now they're in the Natty. If Ryan Day and these Buckeyes can win, they'll shed all the narratives about him. Will Howard will shed all the narratives about how he's not clutch. These guys, the 2021 recruiting class will finally have won something meaningful, which is why they all came back. I don't think these guys are going to be passive now. They've come too far. Their brotherhood is something special. And we've all seen it come together in this playoff. And it's too much for Notre Dame to overcome. I have a lot of respect for them, but their style of play is not sustainable. Their takeaway rate is not sustainable, especially against an Ohio State team like the one they're facing. Their middle eight they're technically sound, but against a team like Ohio State, who knows? Their defense stops them. They can turn the ball over at any given moment. I was watching the Joe Klatt show the other day, and he mentioned all the concerns I've listed. He picked 35-17. Ohio State wins, yes, 35-17. I do think Notre Dame will score 17 points, but I think it'll be late. Ohio State, 38, Notre Dame 17, with a late touchdown.
For Ohio or Notre Dame?
For Notre Dame to stat pad, because they want a stat pad. Of course they do.
Okay.
So, there you have it. Ohio State Buckeyes win the national championship.
Hey, let us know what you think for the national championship on Monday. I think it's like 6 or 8.
Yeah,
on
7:30.
ESPN.
7:30. Yeah.
Another thing is, I don't like the fact that that's on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a bad day to have a national or like a championship game. Like it should, I guess, because you don't want to be with the NFL. It should go on Saturday. I mean, Saturdays are for college football.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why not Saturday night under the lights in Atlanta, Georgia? I mean, but that's my sense on that.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right.
Well, thank you. This has been Game Time with Jack and Josh, special edition College Football National Championship preview. We will see you guys next time. I'm your coach, Jack White. See you next time.